As we welcome you back to Reliance Stadium in Houston, all across the NFL, tribute in honor of 9/11, and certainly the fans and the players here in Houston did their part here this afternoon, Dan.
It was, to me, what was really special is when the flag that covered the entire field was unfurled, the players from both teams went out there and actually wanted to touch it, and there was a real sense of community, everyone actually holding that flag. Neat.
And as these teams prepare to play their first game, the focus is going to be on Kerry Collins. And as we spoke with Kerry Collins last night, he has a special interest in this date.
Well, yes, he does. He was the quarterback of the New York Giants 10 years ago and spent a lot of time at Ground Zero and has been very active back in the New York community with various donations and help with the firefighting and police communities. It's very much on his mind all the time.
Kerry Collins, so up until the 25th of August, was a retired NFL quarterback, and all of a sudden he finds himself back in the thick of it.
And you would have to be a guy who could call on 16 prior seasons of experience to try to prepare for opening day with only 17 days of work. That's what Kerry Collins has had. There's no way he's not going to be a little rusty. How much of this Colts offense he's able to master, we will find out as today and the season goes on.
Houston Texans won the toss, and they will receive, and we are underway. Daniel Manning is going to run it out of the end zone. Hole on the right side, 30, and brought down across the 40-yard line. Terrific return by Manning. Justin Tryon making the tackle.
Well, who cares if you're kicking off from the 35-yard line, and who cares if you're 6 yards deep? Daniel Manning's going to bring it out. And he is on his way, except for that guy right there. Pat McAfee actually makes the open field tackle. And that is a heck of a job by McAfee, because Manning, if he's by McAfee, if he doesn't have to change course, he scores.
On first down from the 40-yard line, Matt Schaub calling the signals. Still has it. Rolling this way. Throws. Caught. To the Colts 40, Andre Johnson.
Well, Matt Schaub is not ever to be confused with Joe Montana, but his getting outside the pocket completely befuddles the Colts, who had no contain on that side whatsoever. And you saw where he had choices along the way. Two different receivers. He had Casey downfield, and he had Johnson short.
The ball is at the Colt 39. Schaub again, throwing, wide opening off the fingertips and intercepted. Intercepted by the Colts, Melvin Bullock.
Well, Matt Schaub rolls to the left on the first play, counters with a roll to the right on the second play, and again, breaks contained, gets out, no pressure, he just throws the ball too high. He overthrows Andre Johnson, and this is the old tip drill. Now, ordinarily, Johnson would snag that ball because he did get both hands on it, but obviously it surprised him being that high.
Melvin Bullock just equaled his interception total for all of last season. He is a starter this year for the first time in his career.
I won't be surprised if Johnson and Schaub both said my fault.
Kerry Collins throws and completes his first pass out to the 44-yard line to Reggie Wayne. 38-year-old Kerry Collins had called it a career until the Colts came calling the last week of August. 40,000 plus yards, 206 touchdowns in his career. Back in '95, the #1 pick of the Carolina Panthers, their first choice ever. On 2nd and 5, this is a dive. And a dive, bouncing off tacklers across midfield and inside the 45-yard line for a first down for the Colts. It is a young offensive line for the most part. Plenty of eyes and pressure today on the Colts' first-round draft pick, left tackle Anthony Costanzo. And Collins has targets, leading the way the 5-time Pro Bowler Reggie Wayne in his 11th year out of Miami. Dan, you said it. We heard Bill Polian say it to the NFL today. In the pregame, the key is going to be to protect Kerry Collins. A dive. For not very much. Houston's new 3-4 defense. Everybody is high on the Texans' first-round draft pick, J.J. Watt out of Wisconsin. Talented linebackers are joined in the new scheme by former defensive end Mario Williams, who contributed 8.5 sacks last year, and in the secondary, Jonathan Joseph signed along with Daniel Manning to help a pass defense that was the worst in the NFL last year, and that's why that man, Wade Phillips, is on board this year as the defensive coordinator. An outstanding track record as a defensive coordinator. 2nd and 9. Collins under the gun, he goes down. Mario Williams.
Well, there's inexperience at the other tackle as well, as he's going to go against Jeff Linkenbach, who's starting at right tackle. And you can see he's there with Dallas Clark. Linkenbach is late getting out to it. Dallas Clark, I'm telling you right now, against Mario Williams, it is never, ever going to happen. I don't know if Dallas Clark thought he was getting help from the inside, but you cannot ask 44 to block number 90. It didn't happen there. It will never happen.
3rd and 17. And a screen for a dive. Brought down at the 48. J.J. Watt along with Glover Quinn. And that'll force the punt.
Well, this is a work in progress for the Houston Texans. It's 3-4. And, you know, there is a lot of change happening for both of these teams, obviously. But, you know, again, with no offseason, without all the OTAs and the minicamps, it's going to take a while for this new 3-4 to sink in Texas. And it's also going to take a while for Gary Collins to settle in for the Colts.
They rallied well after the interception. McAfee's kick for Jacoby Jones. He's going to let it go, and it goes into the end zone for the touchback. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. Matt Schaub and the offense back to work after this. A season ago, the Houston defense was in such bad shape, they may not have survived the turnover as they did just now, but Schaub and the offense back to work from their own 20-yard line. And this is Ward out to about the 24. Texas quarterback Matt Schaub coming off a second straight season of throwing for more than 4,000 yards, 4,370 to be exact last year, with 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
Well, Greg, what he did was he stayed healthy for the second consecutive season. His first 2 seasons here in Houston, he got injured, missed games both of the first 2 years. So he's got 2 solid seasons underneath and completely healthy.
Schaub rolling and throws and complete across the 40, out to about the 45-yard line is Joel Dreesen, the tight end. For Houston, it's a good solid offensive line. Number 74, Wade Smith, has been around the longest in his 8th season out of Memphis. And Schaub has terrific receivers and tight ends. And the veteran Derek Ward, the first to fill in for the injured Arian Foster, who is a spectator today with the hamstring injury.
Well, I'll tell you who the 2 happiest guys in this stadium are so far. That's Dwayne Brown and Eric Winston, the 2 tackles. Because of these rollouts, they don't have to protect the conventional pocket and keep Mathis and Freeney away.
On first down, this is Ward again, and Ward across midfield and into Colt territory at the 49-yard line.
Well, this is a Houston team that believes that Arian Foster not being here isn't going to affect their ability to stuff the ball down the throat of the Indianapolis Colts. They believe that they're more physical. They believe that they can impose their will on this front 4 of the Colts when it comes to running the football. Whether they can remains to be seen, but they believe.
On 2nd and 4, they'll give it to Ward, who tries the right side, had the first down and then some to the Indianapolis 40-yard line. That's a first down for the Texans. The Indy front 4, Robert Mathis, led the team with 11 sacks last season. Dwight Freeney right behind him with 10. Veteran linebacker Gary Brackett in the middle, with second-year linebackers Pat Angerer and Cavell Connor flanking him. And in the secondary, part-time player previously Melvin Bullitt, now the starter at strong safety and with an interception under his belt. Ben Tate is in the Houston backfield, second-year back out of Auburn. And Tate changing direction, cuts back. inside the 40 to about the 36-yard line.
That was a heck of a run by Ben Tate for just a couple of yards, but that looked like that was going to be a negative 3 or 4 yards at the outset. Ben Tate was their second-round pick a year ago, and it didn't last very long as he broke his fibula and tore up some ligaments in his left ankle, so he didn't even play at all last year for the Texans. And there, he's got explosiveness, and as you can see right there, a little creativity to get out of a jam.
They were encouraged by his preseason performance. That pass inside the 25 to the 20 to Andre Johnson, and that's another first down. And right now, Matt Schaub is making that interception look like just a little bit of a blip.
Well, Justin Tryon has got the coverage on Andre Johnson. He is 5'9". Andre is a good solid 6'3", and there's just, I'm sure Tryon can't even see the ball coming after him behind that big body of Andre Johnson. And again, I'm sure Johnson and Schaub upset about the interception on the first two.
This is Tate for 2 to the 18.
Now, Greg, let's talk a little bit about the Colts. We met with them yesterday, and would it be fair to say that this is one angry football team? They feel a little bit disrespected that without Peyton Manning, they have no chance. Jim Caldwell, all the way through this organization, they are angry, their pride has been hurt, and they will tell you this is a 53-man game. We miss Peyton desperately, but we're still going to play hard.
8th play of this drive. Shaw over the middle to the 10. Andre Johnson on the receiving end again. And that is very close to a first down. It'll be just short.
Well, the problem for the Colts defensively is how well-rounded this team is offensively for the Texans. They have talent at the wide receiver. They have talent at the quarterback. They have good running backs. They have solid play at the tight end. And what you really love to have, a big, cruising, physical offensive line.
Ward into the backfield once again now, and he gets the handoff left side, has the first down. It'll be first and goal from about the 7.
Did you see that? The Texans offensive line just moved the line of scrimmage about 4 yards back against the Colts. These guys watch this surge as they just remove the front 7 of the Colts, and by the time they were able to get any contact, it's an easy conversion for a first down.
It is still early, but even with the interception, Houston's offense has been impressive so far. Ward. They have lost a yard off the hit from Gary Brackett.
Now, there aren't many middle linebackers as good as picking his chance to knife upfield. As a middle linebacker, you float, then you see your chance and you knife upfield, and that's exactly what Gary Brackett does there. He floated parallel for about 4 or 5 yards, saw his opening, and boy, does he accelerate upfield and through the legs to make a clean tackle.
11th play of this drive that has 29 yards on the ground, 44 through the air. Shaw to throw. To the end zone, incomplete. Owen Daniel, the tight end. The intended receiver.
Well, it looked like when Owen Daniels initially made his break and headed for the sideline that he was open, but by the time Schaub was able to get the ball, he saw coverage. Right there, Daniels is open. There's a safety coming in from the other side, Lacey. Let's see what's happening with Dwayne Brown and Dwight Freeney. Oh, pretty good job by Dwayne Brown. Good job of lowering his hips and staying low.
Then Tate back into the lineup. Shaw, under pressure, on the move, throws, through hands, incomplete in the end zone.
Well, you don't see that every day where it goes off one receiver and goes to another one, and neither one of them can catch it. Again, Schaub outside the pocket trying to make something happen. The ball there, it goes right off the hands of Walter and then off the hands of Jones.
Neil Rackers will attempt a field goal from 25 yards out. 124 points last season, tied the franchise record. He's made 53 straight field goals from 45 or less. make it 54. 4:27 to play in the first. Houston Texans take the 3-0 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. The new 70-inch class LCD TV from Sharp. And by the award-winning 2012 Fiat 500. Learn more at fiatusa.com.
Just a beautiful look on a beautiful day here in Houston at Reliant Stadium. 3-0 Texans, 4:27 to play in the first. And it'll be interesting to see what happens on this kickoff, Dan. 46-yard return on the opener, and there's been so much discussion about moving the site of the kickoff up. And on the opener Thursday night between the Packers and the Saints, they averaged 43.5 yards a return.
Well, you wonder sometimes if there's not a little complacency on the part of the coverage team, assuming.
On this September the 11th, D'Amico Ryans. This is how he led his Houston teammates onto the field earlier today. Hey, the NFL is holding a special auction to benefit 9/11 charities. Autographed game-worn jerseys from today's games, along with the game ball and other unique NFL items, will be auctioned to raise money for Tuesday's Children and My Good Deed. Visit NFL.com/auction today to bid on items. Colts first down. From the 18, Collins pulls it down. Loose ball. Houston recovers. Antonio Smith with the initial hit on Collins.
Well, we talked early about this offensive line and the fact that only Jeff Saturday is a starter in his normal position, and this pocket collapses right around Kerry Collins. He doesn't find a receiver at first, and as you see, Antonio Smith, number 94, he's coming in from Collins' left, and then he also grabs Collins, tackles him as he's attempting to crawl after the football, and that allows his teammate to recover it.
Sean Cody with the recovery, and the Texans back in business at the 12. Shaw rolling, throws, sideline, complete, out of bounds at the 5 is James Casey, the fullback.
Well, again, the rollout, the pass of choice for this offense of the Texans. Matt Schaub has been on the move almost primarily. Rick Dennison and Gary Kubiak, they want him on the move. As you can see, they're taking advantage of this tremendous speed that the Colts defense has. You see how they flow as one in one direction. And again, nobody's at home to go upfield and pressure it. Schaub has no one in his face.
2nd and 3. This is Tate to the 1. You know, Matt Schaub told us yesterday that he and D'Amico Ryans gathered some teammates during the summer, and they had a series of workouts, kind of like mini camps at Rice University. And I have to tell you, I'm very impressed by this Houston offense so far.
Well, and what he said was that they actually used the formats, the schedules that they would normally be using during mini camp. They actually were still using the running program designed by the strength and conditioning staff of the Texans. So they tried to keep it as much as it would have been if they would have been allowed on the premises to work out.
1st and goal for the Texans. Derek Ward. Touchdown.
Well, that was a tremendous 2nd and 3rd effort by Derek Ward. At first blush, it did not look like he was going to get anywhere near the goal line. Look where his initial contact comes. Right there, you can see that he's almost tackled again, and then fights through a 3rd line of the Colts to get into the end zone. What an awesome job of power football by Derek Ward.
Derek Ward made the point to us yesterday that I've been a 1,000-yard rusher. I've been on a Super Bowl team. 10 points in the last minute and 31 seconds. And the Houston Texans all over the Colts now, 10-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Outback Steakhouse. It's always fresh in the Outback. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Those incredible pictures being supplied by the MetLife Blimp today. Look for the MetLife Blimps as they team up with CBS for more coverage this season.
Well, Greg, you know these Texans, their fans in the stands would go, oh, okay, so we're out 10-0. You know, with Peyton Manning at quarterback, you know he's going to come storming back. A little different deal now. The team that's built to play from the lead behind very early.
You saw Arian Foster sitting out today's game, sitting there next to Derek Ward. Joe LaFege deep in the end zone for the... So Collins and the Colts offense will get started from the 20-yard line with 2:56 to play in the first. And the Texans recover.
Is that J.J. Watt?
It is the rookie out of Wisconsin. This is a Jim Caldwell nightmare.
Well, how many center quarterback exchanges have Jeff Saturday and Peyton Manning had? You don't need me to tell you that he and Kerry Collins have not had very many, and that ball looked like it hit Collins right in the hands. It looked like he delivered it. Now Collins is being attended to by the Colts training staff, and you got to wonder if he didn't do some damage to it. Oh, he did. Oh, his left index finger, at first glance, looked like it was dislocated.
Meanwhile, Texans from the 18-yard line. Schaub outside, complete to Jones, and Jones knocked out of bounds at about the 8 or the 7.
Again, Matt Schaub, he's got one interception on a pass that was a little high, but otherwise he is spot on in throwing to people that are wide open. It's been on a variety of rollouts. That time it was a conventional, but again, this is a Colts defense that right now is a little bit on their heels.
Derek Ward inside the 5. To about the 2.5-yard line.
And then again, this is playing to Houston's strength, just lining up and playing power football. Let's see if you can stand in there against our big, strong guys. And Jim Caldwell knows his defensive line is built to chase, to get after the quarterback. There are not a lot of heavy bodies in there.
Ben Tate, the deep back on second and goal. Tate to the end zone, touchdown. That is his first career NFL touchdown.
And again, another run that is right in the Texans' wheelhouse. Zone blocking up front, one cut by the running back, and as you can see, when Tate cuts back to his left, there is absolutely no second level of defenders for the Colts.
Rapids. The extra point is good. The Texans convert another Colt turnover into points on the board. Ben Tate says thank you to his offensive line. Houston's fans thanking their Texans for a 17-point lead. Ben Tate in his second season out of Auburn, and really his... And here comes Kerry Collins. It's not been the way he pictured it.
Boy, no kidding, Greg. Hey, the good news is he's 2 for 2 passing, but he gets sacked there by Mario Williams. Then he doesn't sense the backside pressure by Smith. He fumbles. Then the exchange with Jeff Saturday goes awry, and I don't know that you could have a more disastrous quarter than the Colts have weathered so far, and there's still 1 minute and 41 seconds left in it. But wow, they've got to be looking around, and their eyes have got to be rolling up in their head going, what is happening?
For comparison's sake, Peyton Manning lost 2 fumbles all last year in 16 regular season games. First down. A dive. Makes it back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And I guess the 17 points that Houston has scored here in the first quarter, they've just set a franchise record. This is their 10th year. They came into the league in 2002, and this is a new benchmark for Gary Kubiak's squad.
Collins with time this time outside, and that's complete to Reggie Wayne. And Wayne has a first down out to the 37-yard line.
Well, this is the one thing that we've known about Kerry Collins his entire career. If you build him a pocket, if you allow him to set, plant, and throw, his arm is still live. He is accurate. Reggie Wayne told us, who catches this pass, he goes, I'm telling you, the guy can throw. But again, those other things have to happen first.
A dive, gets it outside, and out to midfield for another Colt first down.
Oh, and these first downs, I know they don't put points on the board, but did the Indianapolis defense need this? Boy, did they not need a 3 and out and get thrown right back out there on the field. They're going to get the break here at the end of the first quarter. Take a deep breath, try to gather yourself, and try to come up with some, plan to keep from shooting ourselves in the foot.
Die once again, spinning for about 5 yards, and we have a penalty marker down. It stops the clock with 6 seconds to play here in the first.
Not a good sign thrown by the umpire there behind the line of scrimmage.
Walt Coleman is our referee today.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, number 76, offense. 15-yard penalty, still first down.
That's left guard Joe Wrights.
Yeah, Joe Wrights is the left guard. He's making his first NFL start here today. There he is right there. And you could see he had his left hand right on the face mask of Antonio Smith. And that, now with the umpire being in the backfield of the offense, that's really easy for him to see. If he's in his conventional spot behind the defense, a little tougher to see.
We wind down to the end of the first quarter. 14 Houston points off turnovers. They lead by 17. We're back after this. This is the NFL on CBS. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, the rest of our CBS Sports crew here at Reliant Stadium in Houston as we start the second quarter. DeLon Carter, the rookie out of Syracuse in the backfield, gets the handoff and finds a little hole out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Dan, what's this we see that's a little strange out on the field?
Well, yes. Remember Peyton Manning, when he was running this operation, they never left the line of scrimmage. He ran the entire offense from the line. Now the Colts have to go back to a huddle, and Jeff Saturday said this. It's been terrible during practice. I just find myself walking directly up to the football and then realize, there's a huddle back there.
Reggie Wayne says he's got to jog an extra 12 or 15 yards of play. On 2nd and 18, this is Wayne. And Wayne out to the 49. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Well, Reggie Wayne, when we talked to him yesterday, again, if there was a common theme, it was just that they're just offended. And I know it's 17-0, and we'll see how it plays out over the course of the season. But they're professionals, and they have pride. And they couldn't believe how many people were throwing them totally under the bus, talking about like 1 in 15 seasons, winning 1 or 2 games.
Here comes the blitz. Collins throws far side. Oh, look at that grab by Dallas Clark. That'll come up way short of a first down, but a nice one-handed grab by Dallas Clark.
Well, and I think the fact that they still have talented people like Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark. But again, you could see Collins waits till the defender goes to the air, and you won't see a prettier grab than that one right there by Dallas Clark. Look at that. Didn't move the chains or anything, but son of a gun, they threw it at him and he caught it.
Pat McAfee will kick it away. Jacoby Jones is deep. 10, they're the 11th. 17-0 Texans. 12:51 to play. First half. Not too common to see a befuddled look on a member of the Colt offense's face. But you saw it there. Meanwhile, Schaub and Andre Johnson connecting once again. And it's a first down out to the 31-yard line.
And again, Andre Johnson finding a hole in this Colts secondary. But that look on Dallas Clark's face, that does speak a lot of how frustrating it is. And again, it's not they haven't been behind before, but they just haven't had. Not very often does the roof collapse on them.
This is Tate. Tate with running room. Tate across the 40 to the 41-yard line, and he'll be just. That was right at the first down marker to see where they place the ball.
And again, no Arian Foster, and apparently so far no problem because the guys up front are doing their job. That is just great blocking. Ben Tate does not encounter an Indianapolis Colt until he is about 9 yards downfield.
Tate takes a breather. Derek Ward into the backfield. First down, Texans at their own 41. Play fake, over the middle, got his man inside the 40-yard line. Andre Johnson again, his 5th catch of the day.
Well, Andre Johnson is so happy to be healthy. He had an ankle problem. It bothered him all last year. He missed 3 games. And now when you got your legs and they're healthy and you have had a good restful offseason like Andre Johnson has had, he just feels fantastic. And it shows here early, and a perfect strike from Matt Schaub again against that Colts zone right in the crease.
Here's Derek Ward. And this time he is stacked up, led by Pat Angerer and Antonio Johnson.
We mentioned Arian Foster not playing, and there he is, and he's not happy, but it's a smart move by the Texans. When you've got a running back with a hamstring issue, if you really force it early, it can end up being an issue for the entire season. And I think what we're seeing right here is the fact that Gary Kubiak knows that Arian Foster is not the Lone Ranger in his backfield.
On 2nd and 8, Schaub with time, out to the near side, completes Casey out of the backfield, stretching. And let's see if he stretched enough for the first down.
Well, the one thing you do when you stretch to reach that first down is you don't have any way to defend yourself. You leave yourself open to a big hit, and that's what happens right here to Casey. Watch this. He's going to stretch out, and there's nothing he can do about it because Pat Angerer is coming in to finish the play.
But you know what? He got the first.
He got the first. Showed a little toughness doing it.
To the 27-yard line. This is Tate, left side, inside the 20. That's another first down for Houston.
Oh, this offensive line now, they are asserting themselves. Dwayne Brown, Wade Smith, Chris Myers, or look at Brown. 76 going to go upfield, and he gets on Brackett and just takes him all the way out. Angerer misses a tackle, and you can see how much ground the Colts are giving up front. Dwayne, their number 1 pick back in 08, he's loving this. Anything that doesn't involve pass blocking Dwight Freeney.
14th first down of the day for the Texans. This is Tate. And he will lose yardage.
You're an offensive lineman, especially one of the 2 tackles, and every time you hear a running play called in the huddle, you go, thank you, thank you. That's just one less time during the course of this game. I don't have to keep Freeney and Mathis from going right over the top of my quarterback.
Is that where you got your manners?
When you're playing against premier pass rushers, if every time you get an opportunity to run the football, that's what you do.
Ward with 32 yards on the ground. Tate with 31. Tate in the backfield now on 2nd and 11. And Schaub to throw inside the 10-yard line, complete to Owen Daniel. first and goal.
Owen Daniels, another guy that the Texans have back and healthy. He missed 5 games last year. He was having hamstring problems all season. So again, this is even without Foster, the tools, the weapons that are available to Matt Schaub and Kubiak calling the plays, they are plentiful.
6 straight completions for Schaub.
And right now, I don't know what the Colts have to do, but this game is very, very close to getting completely out of hand.
On first and goal, this is Ward, left side, inside the 5 to the 4, where Eric Foster makes the stop.
You know, and this was a Colts defense that was, coming into this game a little upset about what happened here on opening day a year ago. Melvin Bullock telling us, hey, we know we were the coming out party for Arian Foster. He ran for 231 yards in the opener last season and really on his way to the rushing title. And they knew they got it carried to them. And they said, we paid him back a little bit the second game of the season, but it's still on their mind.
Melvin said, you don't want to be the one that helps a guy into the Hall of Fame. Shot over the middle, touchdown.
Well, when you run the football, anybody knows this, when you run the football, play action really means something.
Andre Johnson on the receiving end at the back of the end zone. Beautiful, beautiful play.
But look at the play action. No penetration. And right there you can see Gary Brackett, not being the tallest guy in the league, he still is able to elevate. He gets his left fingertips on the ball. And Andre Johnson amazingly able to adjust back in that short period of time and get a catch.
Brackett is perfect. Last 4 drives, a field goal, a touchdown, and a touchdown, and Houston up by 24. Anxious guy, you know that somewhere Peyton Manning has found a way to watch this game and is probably as antsy as they come.
Well, of course he is, and
we send him our very best.
And there's not a fan of the game that isn't upset that Peyton Manning isn't playing. The face of the NFL for so many years.
20-yard line, down 24-0. That's a pretty decent sign from the Houston Texans faithful, don't you think?
I think it shows a little bit the respect that Peyton has all around the league, even in opposing cities.
Collins from the shotgun, pulls it down, now throws, overthrows Dallas Clark. It's incomplete.
Well, Peyton Manning was at the helm of this franchise for a long, long time. We go all the way back to December of 1997. Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback against the Vikings. Yes, Jim Harbaugh, who today takes his San Francisco 49ers onto the field in their home opener. But again, Minnesota won the game 39-28. It was Harbaugh's last game as a Colt. They drafted Manning number 1 the following year in 98, and until today, he's at the helm.
A dive, can't turn the corner and lost yardage. Yeah, the Colts were 3-13 that last year, and then Peyton's first year, they were 3-13 again, and things got decidedly better after that.
Yes, they did. Check that out. The average team has started 11 quarterbacks over the period of time since Peyton has been the only starter for the Indianapolis Colts. A remarkable run.
As other quarterbacks expressed to us yesterday, Matt Schaub and Kerry Collins, he really puts Brett Favre's numbers in perspective, doesn't it?
It makes it otherworldly is what it does.
3rd and 12. And we have movement up front.
Well, J.J. Watt was into the neutral zone, but the question is, did he get back out of there in time, and did the Colts react? It's supposed to be a spontaneous reaction that an offensive lineman is drawn off sides. Let's see if they get the benefit of the doubt.
Delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
They did not. Watt jumps in there. When you jump in there as an offensive lineman, your reaction has to be a direct result of that. J.J. Watt jumped in there and then got back on his side of the football, and then the Colts moved. And that is really That's a good call by Walt Coleman.
Dan, did we talk to anybody on the Texans yesterday who didn't talk about J.J. Watt's motor?
Oh, no. It is high octane. That's a 12-cylinder.
3rd and 17. Collins with time, going to go deep. It is incomplete. Intended for Austin Collie. And Jonathan Joseph was covered.
Well, Mario Williams, who plays in a 2-point stance in their conventional 3-4 when it comes to nickel, just gets down on the ground like everybody else. And boy, that was a nice little swim move, but a good job by Linkenbach of taking Williams far enough upfield, riding him out of the way that Collins able
down at about the 38-yard line. Adrian Moten, the rookie out of Maryland, with the tackle. 5:25 to play in the first half. Welcome back to Houston. 5:25 to play here in the first half. That has belonged to the Texans. Shaw gonna throw. Running out of time to get rid of it. He throws incomplete. And we have a penalty marker down.
Well, at least that time, Pat Angerer was able to at least chase Shaw.
Holding, number 41, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Antoine Bethea, the penalty. And boy, just nothing going right for the Indianapolis Colts so far here.
Yeah, so even when they finally are able to force Matt Schaub out of his comfort zone on that rollout, they make a mistake in the backfield and give them a first down anyway. Jim Caldwell, he's stoic though, but he's not showing how upset he is.
Tate dragged down at midfield. That'll be about 3 yards short of a first down.
Well, it's been all Houston Texans. Kerry Collins doesn't feel the pressure. Antonio Smith knocks the ball out and turns it over. Then Derek Ward able to stuff it into the end zone with a great effort. Then it's Ben Tate behind unbelievably good blocking. And then even though the ball's tipped by Gary Brackett, Andre Johnson makes the catch. Matt Schaub can't believe it. And take a look at that. Field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And they've got a chance to add to it.
On 2nd and 3, this is Tate. First down yardage and then some. Inside the 40 to the 36.
Well, is the glass half full or half empty? Is the Houston offensive line this good that that's what it looks like right now, or are the Colts playing that poorly? But any way you look at it right now, it almost looks unfair that when the Texans decide they want to run the football, they're just going to run the football, and the Colts can't seem to do a lot about it. Already 10 plays of 10-plus yards.
234 total yards for the Texans to 49 for the Colts. This is Ward, and Ward with running room inside the 30 to about the 28 and a half.
And Greg, Arian Foster isn't playing, but this is deja vu all over again, isn't it? Does this not remind you of opening day a year ago?
Arian Foster was running wild a year ago here.
Yeah, for 231 yards. That was a pretty good building block to get his NFL rushing title season underway.
Arian, he of the questionable tweets.
Yes.
He won't be doing that again anytime soon.
Sent out an MRI of his hamstring.
This is Derek Ward, and Ward gets tripped up by his own man, James Casey, in the backfield.
Well, Cavell Connor did a good job of getting upfield and forcing the issue. This is one of the few times that we've actually seen a Colt make a play on the Houston side of the football, and he gets right inside and underneath Casey and forces that play. That was superlative by Connor. One of the few times that you've seen a blue shirt on the Texans side of the ball.
And 3rd and 5, and Matt Schaub going to call a timeout here when it's right down to expiration time for the play clock. 2:28 to play in the first half, and we'll be back. Well, it's a beautiful day here in Houston, but it has been a nightmare of a day for the visiting Indianapolis Colts. 24-0 Texans. Kerry Collins, what did he say he was doing when he got the call from the Colts? Skeet shooting?
He was skeet shooting on his property, and he has worked so hard, and you feel for the guy that the half has turned out to be what it is.
From the shotgun, over the middle, complete, inside the 20 to Kevin Walter.
Well, that same pattern is paying off for the Texans, whether it's Walter, whether it's Andre Johnson, whether it's Owen Daniels, but they're just running that skinny post pattern right across underneath this deep shell of the Colts, and it is, of course, now Matt Schaub is delivering a good pass, but it is there play after play.
2 minutes to play here in the first half, and it's a half that just can't end fast enough for the Indianapolis Colts, because nothing but smiles and celebration so far on the part of the Houston Texans. Back in Houston on first down. Quick pass tipped in the air and knocked down incomplete. Just a reminder, coming up, the Sprint halftime report. Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, including this game, which has been just dominated by the Houston Texans. Give you an example. Time of possession, Houston leads it by more than 10 minutes in this first half.
Indianapolis has 49 yards of offense in comparison to Houston's 253.
On 2nd and 10, Schaub under the pressure and goes down at the 20-yard line.
Well, and that's why the Texans have been doing so much rolling out, because of that respect that they have for Freeney and Robert Mathis. And that time Robert Mathis gets in there and gets a sack. There he is at the bottom of your screen, and he just gets the corner on Eric Winston, the right tackle. Look at that move. He fakes to the inside, a little stutter step. Winston bites, plants his feet, and then Mathis goes upfield and right around the soft edge. Boy, that was a slick little move.
You were talking about numbers, Dan, and the numbers don't lie. Last year, the Colts averaged 23 first downs. Today they have 3 so far.
Well, it's hard to overestimate what it means without Peyton Manning in terms of his control of this offense. He ran the entire thing from the line of scrimmage. There's no way that these guys can just shrug that off.
3rd and 13. This is Tate. And Tate with running room to about the 11, and that will set up the field goal unit. And to a man, the Indianapolis Colts have pointed out, Kerry Collins has absorbed an awful lot in the short time he's had.
Well, yes, he has, and they all admire his work ethic. They said that he's the first guy in there, he's the last guy to leave, he's there at night. He has totally dedicated himself to trying to absorb as much of this as he possibly can over the last 17 days. Now, it's fair to say that this first half has been a joint effort. The defense of the Colts has been abysmal. They've had no help from the offense, but this is a team-wide poor first half.
Rackers was good from 25 yards out. This one will be from 29. And it is good. 5 trips to the red zone for the Houston Texans. 5 times they put points on the board. They lead by 27. We sure want to thank the MetLife Bloom for providing aerial coverage like that of all of the beautiful sights and scenes down below. Look for the MetLife Blooms, Snoopy 1 and 2, when they pass through a town near you. Actually, it would be over a town near you.
What a beautiful home the Texans have here, right next to the old Astrodome, which I used to think was a pretty big place. Then you see it sitting next to Reliance Stadium here, and you go, whoa.
What's that hut?
No kidding. Look at it. There's the Astrodome on the other side. This stadium, of course, with a movable roof.
LaFlege will not get a chance to return this one as it's kicked out of the end zone, and once again the Colts will start on their own 20. Hey, U.S. Open action on Monday. Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic will face off for the men's U.S. Open Championship. And coming up next here on CBS, the Women's U.S. Open Championship between Serena Williams and Samantha Stosur. Only CBS.
Well, the Colts coaches have talked about finding plays that Kerry Collins is comfortable with. And if ever there was a time to just run a couple of those, this is it.
Collins, this side of the field, and that is complete to Reggie Wayne and out of bounds. It stops the clock at 1:29 to play in the first half. Colts have not been shut out in the first half since the 14th of September back in 08 at Minnesota.
And right there was a good illustration, by the way, of Kerry Collins' arm strength. That deep out to Reggie Wayne was a fine throw. And by the way, looking at that, where they fell behind, they came back and won the game. Who was the quarterback? Peyton Manning, of course.
Collins going the other way this time and misfires on his attempt to complete to Pierre Garçon and picks himself off the turf.
Again, Antonio Smith, who again, with all the high-profile guys on this defensive line, Williams comes around the corner, but boy, the heavy lifting done by Smith, who's right into the grill of Kerry Collins. Smith forced the fumble, the first turnover of the game that started this downhill slide.
2nd and 10. Flip out of the backfield for a die, incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10. You know, Collins retired on a high note. He started 7 games, played in 10 for Tennessee last year. His last game, he was 28 of 39 for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
And that last little incompletion there, just a good illustration of how hard and how long it takes to develop timing. Joseph Adai was his relief valve, but let's face it, when you've only been doing this for a couple of weeks, you're not sure exactly where he's going to be. And Kerry floated the ball too far out of there. Peyton would have just dumped that right into his hands.
Collins over the middle, tipped incomplete.
Looked like Kareem Jackson got his hand on that thing. Again, Kerry looking downfield, trying to move. No, I'm sorry, it's Glover Quinn. It's number 29. And then Jackson gets the second one. Glover Quinn got one hand on it, and then Kareem Jackson got another one. Wade Phillips, he's greedy. Like all defensive coordinators, he wants a turnover no matter when he gets it.
Glover Quinn played quarterback last year, moved to safety this year. This is Jacoby Jones at the 21. Straight ahead, breaks to the outside, running room. McAfee out there. Down the sideline, Jones, touchdown. Yards.
Well, could anything else possibly go wrong for Indianapolis? It generated nothing offensively. They've been pushed around defensively, and now, to make matters worse, they give up a punt return for a touchdown on special teams. Right now, the Houston Texans are flexing their muscles.
And it's not a stretch to say that they're clicking on all cylinders. 54 seconds to play in the half. Houston 34-0, and look again.
Well, you hear all the time about containment. When Jacoby Jones makes that break to the left, there is no containment. McAfee, no chance of catching him. And right there, look at that job of going down the sideline when it looked like he was going to be forced outside. And it really did. I thought Moton had a chance at him. Right there. What a tremendous, what a piece of athleticism by Jacoby Jones, avoiding the tackle and staying in bounds. Wow.
The Texans didn't have a single return for a touchdown all last season.
15 yards before they reached that point. It looked from up here that Moton was going to have, that he had enough of an angle that he was going to be able to force him out. Sometimes speed is just hard. There's nothing like it.
Offense from their own 20-yard line.
Well, might be time to just hand the ball off a couple times and run to the locker room.
The first punt return for a touchdown for Houston since the 2008 season. And Gary Kubiak, you couldn't tell by the look on his face that he's up 34.
Coaches practice that. You never smile until it's over.
DeLon Carter in the backfield. He's going to get the handoff and go right up the middle. And we're down to 50 seconds to play in the first half.
Well, this is, I know we have documented, everybody's been talking for weeks about Peyton Manning and what kind of an effect that it was going to have on the Colts. And we talked about the Texans being an up-and-coming team. As we watch the end of that run, nobody saw this coming. Not complete and utter domination on the part of the Texans.
And no one saw it coming, Dan, because there are too many good football players on those Indianapolis Colts.
Jim Caldwell, what did he tell us? There's 29 guys in that locker room that have been to a Super Bowl. And just look at the talent. Just look at I'm sorry. I did not see this coming. I'm not surprised the Texans are winning 34-0. Yes, I'm shocked.
They get a hand from their fans, and it's well-deserved because they've played themselves a heck of a first half here at Reliant Stadium. 34-0. Texans, we're back with the Spread Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. And here at halftime, it's 34-0. Houston in the lead over the Indianapolis Colts. Greg Gumbel and Dan Deerdorf with you. We were here a year ago when the Houston Texans opened their season with a 34-24 win over the Colts. It took them all day to score 34 last year. They've got 34 in the first half. It's been a tough day for Kerry Collins.
It has been a very tough day for Kerry Collins, and it's been a variety of miscues. Both from his offensive line right there. He gets sacked by Mario Williams. And then from behind, Antonio Smith knocks loose the football. That led to the first Texans touchdown. A fumble exchange with the center Jeff Saturday. Been under pressure, been under duress. But again, it has been a team effort by the Colts in this 34-0 debacle that has been the first half. A punt return for a touchdown by Jacoby Jones. A defensive collapse allowing the Texans to run the ball at will. I can only imagine that it was a bit of a spirited conversation by Jim Caldwell and his staff at halftime.
Colts will get their hands on the ball first here in the second half, and this one will bounce through the end zone for the touchback. Still another touchback, and it'll be Kerry Collins and the Indy offense starting from their own 20-yard line as Jim Caldwell. You're right. It would have loved to have been a fly on the wall of that dressing room.
Yeah. There's two ways to handle it. And I've been in there before where coaches some have chosen to yell and scream. Others have chosen to just say, men, you don't need me to tell you. You're going out here the second half and people are going to watch you play and you're going to be judged on how hard you play. You're either going to do it or you're not.
Collins going to throw. Far side of the field, and that's right on the money. And across the 35 to about the 36 or 37-yard line is Pierre Garçon. And knowing Jim Caldwell as we do, I doubt there was screaming and yelling.
I'm sure he left that to the position coaches. Jim Caldwell isn't a yeller or a screamer. I think his sideline demeanor pretty much reflects that. I'll tell you one thing we've seen in this game is that Kerry Collins is not afraid to throw the deep out pattern, and the ball has velocity when he throws it.
A dive, dancing his way through the middle of the line and out to about the 43 or the 44-yard line.
And the offensive line of this Indianapolis offense is really going to have a big determining factor on where this team goes without Peyton Manning, because again, only Jeff Saturday is at home at center. Wright, 76, making his first start at left guard. 74, you see Costanzo, he's a rookie, their #1 draft choice. This is his first game in the National Football League. Linkenbach at right tackle, he's making his first start at right tackle.
Collins sets up the screen. Clark, first down yardage inside the 40 to about the 39-yard line.
Well, that's a nice tight end screen to Dallas Clark, and again, taking advantage of the fact Houston wants to tee off on Kerry Collins. And you see, he really does a good job of inviting them upfield, gets a nice block outside by Deem and Linkenbach. And again, there's so much talent at this wide receiver position with Dallas Clark and Reggie Wayne and Garcon, even with Collie, coming back. They're all over.
There's a dive, right side, trying to turn the corner, and we get a flag as he's bumped out of bounds at about the line of scrimmage. And this will go against the Colts. So just as Indianapolis gets up a little bit of a head of steam, they get a yellow flag on it, backs them up to the 49. First and 20.
Again, we got to get used to watching the Colts walk up to the line of scrimmage. We haven't seen that in years.
Collins on the move and got rid of it to a dive. And he's out of bounds at the 47.
Well, again, if you don't find anybody, and that's what happened to Kerry Collins here, he gets good protection. He's got a good solid pocket. I don't know where he initially thought he was going to go stepping forward. Brian Cushing finally brings him to the ground, but again, don't make a mistake by throwing into coverage.
Hey, that was ruled incomplete, so it's going to be 2nd and 20. Far side of the field, overthrows Garcon, 3rd and 20. And there's no question that the Indianapolis woes begin with Peyton Manning not being in uniform today, but the defense has hardly held up its end of the bargain today.
No, and let's face it, there were, even if Peyton was here, there were still a lot of people who were wondering, is the Colts' hold on this division quite as strong as it has been? Pretty hard to be critical of a team that's made the playoffs 9 consecutive years.
Collins needs the 29-yard line for a first down. Out to the far side, a dive, knocked out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. D'Amico Ryans putting the hit on it.
If you weren't talking to someone at home, you could hear that hit. That was one of those where if you're in the upper rows of this stadium, you could hear that hit on the sidelines by Ryans.
On Joseph Adai, a native of Houston, Texas.
But again, it left the Colts 10 yards short of a first down, so they have no choice but to hopefully pin the Texans deep.
Jacoby Jones, who authored a 79-yard punt return for a touchdown. The end of the first half, is back at his own 10. McAfee hangs it up, drops it inside the 5, but it bounces into the end zone for the touchback. 11:54 to play in the third quarter. Houston on offense after this. Matt Schaub, his first turn in the offense here in the second half, has been Tate. Pulled up after about a 1.5-yard gain. But boy, Matt Schaub, what a first half. 12 of 16 for 162 yards, a touchdown and an interception.
And now for Houston, it's going to be hard. Can you muster up the same intensity that you showed in the first half? You had a chance to go in and sit down and think for about 12 minutes of how wonderful you are and what a giant lead you have and everything else. Can you get it back going at a high level again?
Shaw, quick pass outside. That's complete to Andre Johnson.
The one thing that I like when you're around these Texans is they don't want to talk about it. That's, if they have a mantra, that is it. They're going, it's just time for us to perform. We're tired of talking about this is our breakout year. You know, after a couple of 8-8s and then a 9-7, the regressing back to 6-10 last year has really left a mark with these guys.
A team that lost 4 of its last 5 and 8 of its last 10 last year. That pass complete to James Casey. Casey looking for more yardage and gets it in just outside the 41-yard line to the first down.
And again, if we've seen a theme in the Texans passing game, it's Matt Schaub on the move. And this time to James Casey, the fullback. Remember, he replaces Vontae Leach, a Pro Bowler who got a big contract in Baltimore, and he's gone. But I am really impressed with Matt Schaub and the way he's delivering the ball on the move. He had the one miscue that was a little high. Remember, it caromed off Andre Johnson's hands on their first possession for an interception. From then, stellar.
This is Tate. And Tate pulls his way to about the 46-yard line. While we have a moment, not too late to play NFL.com fantasy football. The first and only one with in-game video. It's free and easy. Sign up today at NFL.com/fantasy.
I think another thing in terms of the Texans is, and there's Arian Foster who's sitting this out with the hamstring, is that they know that they got off to a good start last year. They were 4-2 at one time, and then they lost to Miko Ryans, and then they finished 2-8.
Tate pulled up at about the line of scrimmage. Number 94, Drake Nevis, the rookie out of LSU.
The Texans next week go to Miami to play the Dolphins. And then the following week, back-to-back road games. How's this for a matchup of offenses? They go to New Orleans and take on the Saints. We saw what they looked like on Thursday night. And I suspect that Arian Foster will be back by then.
On 3rd and 5, little pump fake, incomplete far side of the field, intended for Andre Johnson.
Well, that's a good back shoulder throw by Matt Schaub, and he's hoping that Johnson is going to be able to react back to it. He's going stride for stride with Justin Tryon, who's got good coverage. Tryon not aware of the football. He's playing Johnson, but Schaub threw it just a little bit too far to the outside. If that ball is if it's just about a foot or two back towards Andre Johnson, that's a completion.
Gives us a chance to introduce you to Brett Hartman. It's his first punt of the day. Gerard Powers watches this one bounce and goes into the end zone. From the 20-yard line. That's where the Colts will operate when we come back.
Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. KFC Popcorn Chicken. Today tastes so good. And by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The NFL on CBS. Doubleheader action. First, Dan and I will be in New York as the Jets play host to the Jacksonville Jaguars, or the Raiders battle the Bills, and Phillip Rivers and the Chargers taking on Tom Brady and the Patriots. Check your local listings, beginning with JB, Dan, Coach, Shannon, and Boomer on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines.
What a handsome group.
We are told that Kevin Walter has a shoulder injury and Derek Ward an ankle injury. Both are questionable for a return. As for the 7th straight time, the Colts start from their own 20-yard line. And DeLon Carter gets maybe a yard and a half.
Well, right now for the Indianapolis Colts, there are 15 games remaining in the regular schedule, and you're going to have to play them. So there's work to be done, and you can accomplish a lot here in the second half in terms of just beginning to gel a little bit offensively.
Collins over the middle, got Reggie Wayne, and Wayne for a first down out to about the 44-yard line.
And anything that positive that happens here for the Colts offensively. And again, look at this. Well, they thought about going to the line of scrimmage. It looked like they were going to get up there, but then they're going back into a conventional huddle. But again, there's still a lot of positive things that can, winning the game, probably not an option. Can you get some positive work done here in the second half? Something to build upon? Yes, you can.
That was Collins' longest pass play of the day. Good for 22 yards. He's looking for more here. Incomplete. Intended for Wayne on this side of the field. Covered by Kareem Jackson.
Well, probably no one's arrival in Houston more anticipated than the arrival of Wade Phillips as defensive coordinator. Of course, a native Texan, his father Bum, the coach of the Oilers, an icon here in this city, and his arrival was much heralded, anticipated, and appreciated by the faithful.
2nd and 10. Collins with time. That's the far side of the field. Garcon has a first down at the 45, and we have a penalty marker down.
Illegal contact, number 25, defense. That penalty's declined. Play results in a first down.
By the way, you want to know just how much Kerry Collins has contributed in his career. He has just passed Joe Montana for 10th place all time in passing yardage for a career. That's not too shabby.
No, it's not.
40,554 yards under his belt. On first down, Collins, and that's incomplete to Jacob Tammy out of the backfield. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, Kerry Collins was telling us that first of all, the terminology of this offense, unlike anything he's ever been around. He has to call the entire play. It was really interesting talking to Jeff Saturday, saying Peyton had done away with a lot of the verbiage. We were down to just code words. He goes, I hadn't heard the full play call in years. I barely recognized some of it.
We got whistles and flags and a false
start.
start.
Number 72, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Lincoln Bach, the guilty party.
Well, Lincoln Bach, he had 4 starts last year, but 3 of them were at right guard. 1 of them was at left tackle. So, again, this is his first National Football League game at right tackle.
2nd and 15. This is Carter. Carter shakes a tackle. Can't shake the second one. And he's down at the 48. Brian Cushing with the stop.
Well, I think initially a lot of people might have gone, why Kerry Collins? Well, there's Jim Caldwell, and there's Kerry Collins in a photo from Penn State. That's how far back they go. And then there's Bill Polian in the background with Jerry Richardson as they drafted Kerry Collins, their first draft choice of the Carolina Panthers. So to say that there's a comfort level with the man who runs the football operations and the head coach with Kerry Collins would be an understatement.
Big 3rd and 13, and he's running out of time. Got the snap off. Collins on the move, had to throw it away. Mario Williams all over his back.
Well, you could see that the Texans, I'm not sure if they're anticipating the snap count, but they are just, whoa, look at them get off. Antonio Smith gets upfield in the middle, Mario Williams upfield, and Kerry Collins, he is running for his life at the snap of the ball.
Number 5 on the offense, the ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage. Spot foul, loss of down, 4th down.
So they'll tack a little more yardage onto it because Kerry Collins, in his attempt to get rid of the ball before Mario Williams dragged him to the ground. A refresher course for everybody. It's been a long off season. If the quarterback's going to do that, if he's outside of the pocket, you've got to get it all the way back at least to the line of scrimmage to avoid the grounding call.
Terry was too busy running for his life.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm sure he's really upset about it.
McAfee. High floater. Fair catch called for. And Jones is going to let it bounce. And McAfee gets a pulled roll, and it rolls out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. 34-0. Texans, 5.5 to play in the third. That's a look ahead at the Indianapolis Colts schedule. They've got Cleveland and then what promises to be a very unhappy batch of Pittsburgh Steelers who are getting the pants beaten off of them today by Baltimore. And this is Steve Slayton. Steve Slayton, the fourth year back out of West Virginia.
Well, you see, they at least get to go home for a couple of weeks for Cleveland and Pittsburgh before they head back to Florida for Tampa Bay and then back home again for Kansas City. So 3 out of their next 4 will be at Lucas Oil. So that's some good news. But then look at that 3-game road trip in October.
Shaw, screen, Slayton across the 35 to about the 38-yard line. Steve Slayton, here's another guy, rushed for 1,282 yards back in the 08 season. And that is, once Arian Foster is healthy, that is what you call a stable of quality running backs.
Well, yeah, seriously, how many teams can boast of having 3 running backs on their squad who have a 1,000-yard season on their resume, and it's quite a luxury that the Texans have.
And this will be a false start for Houston.
False start, number 73, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
So we're talking about the fact that they've got 3 runners in Foster, Ward, and Slayton, all with 1,000-yard seasons, and that doesn't even take into consideration that Ben Tate, their second-round pick from a year ago, who missed the entire season, that he's back and healthy, and there's a reason why they drafted this kid in the second round. So it's almost an embarrassment of riches at the running back position for the Texans.
Ben Tate is 13 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown here today. 2nd and 10. Slayton. Nothing.
And my guess is right now we're watching Steve Slayton fighting to become one of the top 3. I mean, he's the guy that, because of fumbling issues in the past, the last couple of years he hasn't been a big factor, and the emergence of Tate, Steve Slayton is a guy that's really doing anything he can do to try to find a little playing time.
3rd and 10. Shaw from the pressure got it to his man across midfield. Jacoby Jones for a first down into Colt territory at the 42.
And again, they are just finding that level in between the zones. And when you look at this from behind, you're going to see the linebackers dropping to that level. And then there's that gap between the linebackers and the safeties. And you see Jacoby Jones operating right in the middle there. Here comes the spin move by Dwight Freeney. And this time Brown does a pretty effective job of rerouting him and keeping him away from the body of Matt Schaub. That is just such a lethal move. And the minute you think it's coming, he'll gore you.
Tate in the backfield and pulls his way to the 40 for a couple. Melvin Bullitt in for the stop.
Well, that's what Dwight Freeney will do to you. He'll run that spin, which is a finesse move. You don't have to be really, hard-hitting and physical to stop that. And once you start thinking he's going to do that, he will come in with a bull rush. He'll plant his helmet right in your sternum, and like you are on roller skates, he will run you back to the quarterback. It's an embarrassing thing for an offensive tackle when Dwight Freeney gets that leverage and gets underneath.
2nd and 7. Short drop and on the slant, that's complete for a first down to Jones. Dwight was telling us, and Jim Caldwell confirmed, that this is a simplified defense from a year ago.
Well, they thought their playbook was a little too big last year, and they were doing too much thinking and not enough reacting. And I was kind of expecting something positive to happen when he was talking about we're going to be more attacking, we're going to be more aggressive, we're not going to have to, just read and react as much. Well, 34-0, we haven't seen it.
That's 23 first downs on the day for the Texans. Shaw rolling this way, looking, and he's going to keep it and run out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Out of bounds at about the 28-yard line.
Well, that time Antonio Johnson chasing Shaw, but again, the Colts just can't seem to get somebody upfield to keep Matt Schaub from rolling out on the backside. He's bootlegging out of there, and the Colts are finding themselves in a chase position. Once or twice, they've actually had someone up in his face.
I could be wrong, Dan. I just don't recall Matt Schaub doing this much running.
No, it's not his MO.
On 2nd and 7, they'll give it to Tate and hold him. Going through on the right side, inside the 15 and down to the 10.
Well, I just want to say it. Eric Winston, Mike Breisel, Chris Myers, Wade Smith, Dwayne Brown, the 5 guys up front, you are getting it done.
We come to the end of the third quarter with the score. Houston 34 and Indy nothing. We're coming back to Houston after this message and a word from your local station. You are watching the NFL on CBS. Producer Mark Wolf and our director Suzanne Smith. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf back at Reliant Stadium in Houston for the start of the fourth quarter. And it has been a tough day for the Indianapolis Colts, to say the least. From just outside the 10-yard line. On first down, this is Tate. And he dips inside the 10 and out of bounds at about the 8 or the 9-yard line. Pat Angerer, the second-year linebacker out of Iowa, making the play.
Yeah, he's really settled in at the outside linebacker position. He'll come knifing in here. There he comes right now. And it looked at first like he might have chosen a poor angle, but he's got enough speed, like everybody on this Indianapolis defense, to, even if you do take a little bit of an incorrect angle, you still can recover and get in on the tackle.
Angerer the angler?
Well, that would make him a good fisherman.
Would they? Second and goal. Popped up into the air and falls incomplete.
Well, that is the third or the fourth time today I can remember that the Colts have gotten their hands onto a pass from Matt Schaub. A couple clean blocks. Remember, Bracken deflected one that Andre Johnson caught for a touchdown, and that time it's Connor. You see him just get up there and time his leap perfectly and bat it away.
Well, the Colt defense has shown itself a little bit better here in the second half than it did in the first. Steve Slayton back onto the field, 3rd and goal. Schaub intercepted. Gary Brackett. Brackett looking for blockers and is out of bounds at the 35 or 36-yard line.
How many years have we watched Gary Brackett, and he is not up yet? Hold on, this is not good. Gary Brackett is still on the ground. He has done this so many times.
And they're calling for help this side of the field. We'll check on him and be back.
Save money, live better. Walmart. And by Autotrader.com. Now find brand spanking new cars and special offers on Autotrader.com.
We're glad to report that while we were away, Gary Brackett walked off the field under his own power. Meanwhile, Collins. Let's go back to that play.
Well, when Gary has intercepted the pass and is running upfield, he is going to get caught up in a whole giant group right here. And that's Mike Breisel, 65, who goes low. And then Gary lands really awkwardly. You see his left arm is caught underneath there. And I don't know if it was a case of something, hopefully it was in his upper body. You always worry about a knee or an ankle, but the way he walked off, I don't think it was in the lower extremity.
Colts now at their own 48 on first down. Here is a dive with a couple of yards to midfield. And J.J. Watt in on the stop.
Yeah, you can see the doctor's got his hand up there under the shoulder pad looking at Brackett's left shoulder. Again, though, Gary Brackett, here is a guy who makes big plays from the middle linebacker position, not being a big guy. Greg, how many times have we seen him get lost in there? Quarterback doesn't see him, doesn't know he's there, and he comes up with an interception like that several times a season.
On 2nd and 8, Collins for Clark. And Clark right at the first down marker at the 42-yard line. Hey, Tuesdays this fall on CBS, there's only one new drama to remember, Unforgettable. Premieres Tuesday, September the 20th only, CBS. Don't forget that, man.
I will not. Anxious to see it. A little short yardage situation here. Can this offensive line of the Colts muscle up? Get a little movement.
DeLon Carter is into the backfield for this 3rd and about half a yard. Gronkowski is there with him. The give is to Carter, and he has the first down. Close to the 40-yard line. Dan, this is the time. Here you go into the locker room 34-0. You're scoreless in the 3rd quarter. The outlook isn't good as you begin the 4th, but I can't imagine there is a team under more scrutiny than the Colts are now with Jim Caldwell looking on.
Yeah, and the easiest thing to do would be to pile on and say, well, the season's over. Folks, come on now.
Collins stepping up, throwing deep down the middle, inside the 5 and incomplete. Garcon couldn't hold on.
There's a late flag.
Jonathan Joseph was covering.
Are we going to have a hit on a defenseless receiver?
Personal foul, hit on a defenseless receiver, number 38 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Daniel Manning is the guilty party. Let's take a look.
Well, first of all, what a throw by Kerry Collins as he puts that right onto Garcon's hands. All right, right there, the play is over. Well, Manning is, I didn't see that. I mean, you're coming in, I'm sure we'll look at that again, but there's a point in time where you think, well, once you're in motion, how do you pull up? It's not a blow to the head. Well, I don't see it there. I mean, I'm all for it. A defenseless receiver needs to be protected, but
he wasn't creamed.
No, it wasn't.
Collins on the move and throws it away. That ended up in the 2nd row as we check in with James Brown in New York City. JB.
Greg, it's good to hear you and Dan as well. Let's go to Boomer talking about Chicago.
How about Brian Urlacher right here? Matt Ryan's going to put the ball on the ground. He's going to come through and scoop it up, and he's going to take it in for 6. And I mean, the Bears are all over the Falcons, 30-6.
Not many folks talked about the Bears preseason, but they're doing it there. Greg and Dan.
All right, JB and Boomer, thank you so much.
Well,
2nd and 10.
I wouldn't write the Falcons off as their season being over either.
A dive inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. Brian Cushing and D'Amico Ryans combining for the tackle.
Well, you say it's a positive for the Colts that the penalty was called on Manning and they moved the football down the field. But the biggest positive of that play, I thought, was the throw from Kerry Collins. I mean, he
on the money,
right down the middle of the field, right onto the hands of Pierre Garcon.
Meanwhile, the Colts in the midst of their longest drive of the day, 44 yards, and their first trip into the red zone. Collins lofts it and overthrew Garcon in the end zone.
Boy, you could see Kerry trying so hard to put the right touch on that ball and drop. This is such a field pass. Garcon is wide open and just too much air under the football.
Boy, what a terrific move he made on Jonathan Joseph.
You just hate to squander an opportunity when you get a receiver that wide open in the end zone.
Adam Vinatieri, as the Colts look for their first points of the day. 37 yards out. And he missed it. Downtown Houston, Texas. From the MetLife Blimp, providing today's aerial coverage here in Houston. 10:39 to play, fourth quarter. On first down, the pitch for Tate. Trying to turn the corner. Lost the football. Picked up by Angerer. And Angerer to about the 12. So the Colts miss the field goal and get it right back on the turnover.
Well, it's not Tate's rookie year, technically, but it is in terms of playing. And this is just not, he's carrying the football away from his body. You can see how he's not keeping it high and tight. And Pat Anger, the ball one-hops right to him and makes the play. But that's just a little bit of a disregard for the football by a youngster in Ben Tate, and that's a pretty fast way to the sidelines.
Angerer took the stiff arm. Jacob Lacey made the hit that shook the ball loose, and Angerer was there to pick it up. So Collins and the Colts now at the Houston 13. And Collins going to take this one under center. Carter. Close to the 10. And D'Amico Ryans with the tackle. These Colts have to go back a long ways to remember their last shutout.
273 games is a lot of football.
Second and 8. We had contact up front.
Encroachment, number 92, defense. Half the distance to the goal, still second down.
That's nose tackle Earl Mitchell.
He's part of the rotation inside with Sean Cody working on the nose. And to this point, it's been a pretty stellar performance by Wade Phillips' group. And you saw Wade Phillips was high-fiving everybody when they came off after Vinatieri missed the field goal. Boy, defensive coordinator would love a shutout.
Second and 3. Collins going to throw for it. It is caught in the back of the end zone.
Beautiful.
Touchdown. Reggie Wayne.
Oh, how sweet was that? You just try to build on anything. And there again, we're seeing some good throws from Kerry Collins. And this is why Reggie Wayne is Reggie Wayne. Falling backwards. Look at that spiral. Look at Reggie Wayne get up. We've got possession and we tap the feet. That is spectacular. But again, that throw from Kerry Collins, he is falling backwards.
We will review the previous scoring play.
Every scoring play will be reviewed.
Well, the one thing they want to make sure is that Reggie Wayne had possession of the football. Sure looked like a touchdown to me.
They'll take a look. We'll take a break.
A look from behind as Reggie Wayne elevates. He snares it with his
After reviewing the
right
play,
hand.
the ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver had 2 feet down in the end zone and maintained possession. It is a touchdown.
And well, Walt Coleman just confirms what was really readily apparent to everyone at first glance. I know that every scoring replay is confirmed, but reviewed, but it can be reviewed up in the booth and warranted that the referee doesn't have to come over and go under the hood. That, in my mind, looked like one of those situations. That was pretty clear cut that Reggie Wayne had possession and both feet.
3 feet down. He got the right foot down again.
At first glance, and it didn't change.
Vinatieri for the extra point as the Colts put the shutout to rest. With 9:17 to play here in the fourth quarter, Indianapolis gets on the board. Collins to Reggie Wayne. It's 34-7.
Is sponsored by FedEx. We understand. You need reliable shipping solutions. FedEx. Sprint. All together now. And by Dodge. Visit your local Dodge dealer today.
Well, a little bit of frustration on 20-yard line. Meanwhile, Wednesday, September the 21st, here on CBS, new night, new blood. Ted Danson joins CSI. Season premiere Wednesday, the 21st of September, only CBS.
Well, Kerry Collins has had some positives here in the second half. He has delivered some accurate throws. Some have been caught, some haven't been, but he has thrown the ball pretty effectively here in the second half. And the Texans, conversely, can't be very happy about the fact that they've got 3 turnovers in this game, a pair of interceptions and a fumble.
And on their 11th drive of the day, the Colts finally find the end zone. This is Tate. And Pat Angerer trying to urge another fumble out of Ben Tate.
Well, and that was Ben Tate that time running like a back that was more concerned with holding onto the football than finding a hole. But again, you know, when you're up 34-7, you have the luxury of throwing him right back out onto the field to try to learn from his mistakes and see if he can improve upon it. I guarantee if this was a tight ball game, Ben Tate would be sitting on the pine.
I think it'll be interesting to see how Gary Kubiak runs these running backs in and out once Arian Foster is healthy. Tate again. To the 20. And it'll be 3rd and 10. But you talk about riches. Hey, Gary Kubiak has some backs to deal in and out of there.
Yeah, he really does. So the question, everybody down here wants to know is when is Arian Foster going to come back? He appeared by everybody looking at it that he's very close. You wonder if this was a must-win game if he'd have played. I think a very smart decision, though, not to play him with it and run the risk of it being season long.
This is Tate. And Tate will be pulled up at about the 26-yard line. Well, Dan, there's no question now that Gary Kubiak's answer is certainly going to be when I know he's good and healthy, right, because from what he's seen today, he can afford to wait.
Yes, and he knew that coming in. That he had a lot of guys. And again, the confidence in Derek Ward, I think, was really the top of the list in terms of sitting Foster. But again, Foster hurt this hamstring in early August, came back, and then tweaked it in the 3rd preseason game against the 49ers. So you don't want that tweaking to be 9-yard line. So Foster involved in both tweeting and tweaking.
Now that's bad. Back at Reliance Stadium in Houston on 1st down. Collins with time over the middle, wide open. He hits his man inside the 30, and Reggie Wayne racking up more receiving yardage.
Well, we saw Collins not connect with a wide open receiver in the end zone. This time, he's got a wide open Reggie Wayne again working against this soft zone. The safety's almost out of the picture for the Texans, but he hit Reggie Wayne right on the side.
To the 25-yard line. Collins over the middle. Dallas Clark inside the 15 to the 12, and that's another 1st down.
And again, we're just talking about positives, building blocks, things you can look back on and say, all right, we did this well. Right now, the Colts are scratching for anything.
penalty marker flies as a Dye gets the handoff. Looked like somebody might have moved early. No, maybe.
Well, there was some pointing going on the offensive line, trying to figure out their assignments.
Offside, number 98, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That's Connor Barwin.
Well, again, we talked about building. Those fumbles were in the first half, and much more efficient job of quarterbacking by Kerry Collins here in the second half. Granted, the Texans probably playing a little softer, but still, it's something.
On 1st and 5. Collins throws it over the middle, tipped incomplete. Tipped by Bryce McCain.
Well, that was just good coverage by McCain. He wasn't playing the receiver, he was playing the quarterback in the football and able to get up and knock it away.
So it'll be 2nd and 5. 5:44 to play in the 4th. Collins looks left, throws left, get him at the end zone, no, incomplete. Austin Collie could not come down inbound. It'll be 3rd and 5.
All right, he was awfully close to it. He was really trying to work the back line, Austin Collie. Again, Kerry Collins looking left the whole way, and again delivers a pretty good pass to Austin Collie on the back shoulder, and you could see good work by the official. His right heel is on the line and out of bounds. I think when Collie caught that, he thought that he had the touchdown.
Thought he had more room than he did. 3rd and 5. And Collins calls a timeout with time running down on him on the play clock.
First team timeout, Indianapolis.
So here's the pass that Austin Collie just missed a touchdown. When we come back, we'll see if they get one.
Restaurants. Try the new Oven Crisp Chicken Sandwich today. And by Drive, starring Ryan Gosling. In theaters Friday. There are no clean getaways.
3rd and 5 for Collins and the Colts from the Texans 7. Collins under pressure and goes down.
Mario Williams.
And the Texans say they have recovered a loose ball. And the official's trying to get to the bottom of it.
Well, this game started for Kerry Collins with Mario Williams getting in on him. Looks like J.J. Watt's got his hands on that ball and he's not letting go. That's Jeff Saturday. The veteran wins. Well, that was the old and the young of it.
Dan.
Again, coming from the right, here comes Williams, number 90. Again, Dallas Clark is given the responsibility of trying to pass block Mario Williams. And that is, whoa, I just can't begin to tell you what a terrible mismatch that is. That Dallas, you can see he's very little resistance. That's a blocking scheme, Greg, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Again, as an outsider, it can't be pretty at the bottom of the pile.
No. It's very claustrophobic, to tell you the truth.
I'm sure it is. 4th and 14. And here comes the blitz. Collins for the corner of the end zone. It is incomplete. Reggie Wayne, the intended receiver, covered by Kareem Jackson.
Well, I would say that this defensive unit of the Texans is buying into Wade Phillips and the way that he likes to play this 3-4 and the opportunities that it gives his outside rushers. And, you know, he's had a number of them over the years, and I'm sure that's what he's told Mario Williams and Connor Barwin, that, hey, guys, I'm telling you, this defense, we're coming. We're bringing it, and you guys are going to be a big part of it.
.4:49 to play here in the fourth quarter. And Ben Tate running through a hole in the left side out across the 25 to about the 27 or 28-yard line.
Well, Mario Williams has had a very active day, and this is how it got started. Again, getting a carbon copy of the play we just saw. That time, though, he beats an offensive tackle in Lincolnbach, but he has been all over Kerry Collins. And Mario Williams is, he's never at any time in his football career has ever played it standing up. This is brand new to him.
How about when Mario Williams came in to talk to us yesterday, and the first thing we asked him is, how's the switch working out for you? And he said, I think I'm getting it down.
I think I'm working on it. I'm getting it.
Ben Tate across the 30 to the 32-yard line, and Tate now with 107 yards rushing on the day.
I was talking about playing outside linebacker for Wade Phillips, and most recently when he was the head coach of the Cowboys, DeMarcus Ware, I think we're all aware of that, but Sean Merriman with the Chargers, look at that, 17 sacks. Bryce Popp back with the Buffalo Bills, 17 and a half in 95. Simon Fletcher, and this is a short list. We've got other guys in there that have really been the beneficiaries. It's not a complicated defense, but it's an aggressive use of the 3-4.
And Mario Williams feels like he could fit right into that group. This is Tate building up some more yardage. Pat Angerer with the stop.
Well, I can guarantee you one thing. When teams start looking at playing the Texans, down their schedule, they're going to start looking at one thing, and what part of it's going to be, we can't block Mario Williams with a tight end. We've got to put a big guy. We used to have an expression, it's the bigs on the bigs. And, he's a guy that's going to have an offensive tackle or one of those 275-pound tight ends trying to block him.
3rd and 3. Tate again with a first down to the 39.
Ben Tate is wrapping up that football like a Woody Hayes fullback. He has got that baby secured.
In the back of his mind, he's thinking, okay, if he doesn't know it, he's up over 100 yards, but what are they going to talk to him about all day Monday?
It's all that matters. He put the ball on the ground.
Right.
It negates a lot of good things when you put the ball on the ground.
But, Coach, I had 116 and a touch. You put the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
2 minutes to play here in Houston. It has been a heck of a day for Gary Kubiak and the Houston Texans. 34-7. We are coming back to Reliance Stadium with the last 2 minutes right after this. Last 2 minutes here at Reliance Stadium in Houston. And that's the Texans' game plan for the rest of this day.
You don't see that every day. That's when things are comfortably in hand. So it's time for the Texans to look ahead a little bit.
Kerry Collins with his teammates on the sideline.
Yeah. Keep in mind, a year ago on opening day, the Texans took it to the Colts pretty good. The Colts finished 10-6, won the division. The Texans finished 6-10. There's a long way to go.
Yeah, the Texans will be the first to admit they started like a house of fire. They started like a house of fire and finished at less than that.
Well, the Texans have some work to do when you look at this schedule, because they go to Miami. We all know Miami's a tough place to go. But then look at the next 4 weeks. At New Orleans, home against Pittsburgh, Oakland in between, but then at Baltimore. New Orleans, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. Those are 3 of the best half-dozen teams in the National Football League, and the Texans have to play them in a 4-week span. That's a man-size order.
And one more knee will do it for Matt Schaub and the Houston Texans. A year ago, they knocked off the Colts 34-24 on opening day. They come up with a 34-7 win this afternoon. It started early. Turnovers didn't help. Kerry Collins and the Colts come up short. The final score, 34-7 Texans. For Dan Deerdorf.